Bola Tinubu opens Abuja barracks, promises better soldiers' welfare. In business, marketers seek 21 depot repairs. On the fourth schools as air pollution worsens. In sports, Super Eagles meets Confederation of African Football. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Queen Agaba. A quick reminder that Global on Nigecomsat. President Bola Tinubu has assured the Nigerian Armed Forces that his administration would never compromise on the welfare of troops, promising that he would continue to provide whatever was needed to ease the job of the troops, as well as commit more resources to improve their welfare. The president spoke at the inauguration of the Bola Tinubu Barracks in Abuja, where he noted that the federal government is committed to providing necessary support for troops to fulfill their mandate. He used the opportunity to urge military leadership to ensure adequate maintenance culture to keep the accommodation. President Bola Tinubu joined the government and people of Plateau State in mourning the passing of a former minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Lieutenant General Jeremiah Hussaini, retired. Special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, noted that Tinubu extended condolences to the family, friends, military colleagues, and political associates of the former governor of Old Bendel State, Minister of Transport, and Quartermaster General of the Nigerian Army. The elder statesman died on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, at the age of 82 following a protracted illness. The National Association of Telecommunications Subscribers says it will engage the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) today as it seeks a possible reversal of the 50% telecom tariff hike to 10%. This is coming as the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has indicated its readiness for a protest. The federal government had approved a 50% increase after operators had initially requested a 100% hike. The federal government has announced plans to build 10,000 housing units under the Renewed Hope Medic Cities Initiative. Housing Minister Ahmed Dangiwa stated the plan during a meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors in Abuja. The project, which is being led by the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development in collaboration with the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health, and the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, aims to provide affordable and decent housing for medical professionals across the country. Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7 Command in Abuja, Bennett Igwe, has called on the divisional police officers in Niger and the Federal Capital Territory to sensitize the public on the danger of scooping fuel from fallen tankers. Igwe made the call when he visited the scene of the recent tanker explosion at Diko Junction. He says the incident was a stark reminder of the need for vigilance and safety in communities, adding that the tragedy highlighted a critical importance of safety on the roads and the need for strict compliance with road traffic regulations. Now on security, the Nigerian Air Force says its air component of Operation Fasanyama has killed scores of bandits and dismantled the logistic base at Alawa Forest in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. This is contained in a statement by the Director of Nigerian Air Force Public Relations, Air Vice Marshal Olushola Akimboyewa. According to the statement, the airstrike was a significant achievement in its counter-terrorism campaign, adding that the operation was based on credible intelligence and follow-up confirmatory aerial surveillance efforts, which indicated an influx of armed terrorists into the forest. Meanwhile, a federal high court in Abuja has prescribed the Lako Rawa sect and declared it as a terrorist organization. The court also designated other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north-central zones of the country, as terrorist organizations. Justice ex parte originating summons filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, declared an order by, it says an order is hereby made declaring the identities of the Lako Rawa sect and other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, particularly in the northwest. Managing Director of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Olubunmi Kuku, has threatened that when she is tired of her role as the boss of the agency, she will throw in the towel. Kuku made this known while aviation industry-based questions, stating that she had stepped on toes and would step on more people's toes, although with caution. She also responded to criticisms that have greeted her claim that 580 billion naira is required to fix obsolete runways across the country. Appeal to all who care to understand the need for the money to find out what it takes to take care of aviation infrastructures. The Commissioner of Police, Akwa Ibom State Police Command, CP Baba Mohammed Azare, has met with scrap dealers across the state to address the rising concerns of vandalism of government and private properties. The meeting, which was held at the state headquarters, Uyo, aims to find a lasting solution to curb theft and sale of stolen vandalized items to scrap dealers. It was reported that during his address, CP Azare reiterated the commitment of Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umar Eno in tackling the growing concerns of some criminal elements who hide under the guise of being scrap dealers and scavengers. The Lagos State Technical and Vocational Education Board has reiterated its commitment to providing gender-inclusive technical education to Lagosians. Speaking at the annual management retreat with the team Technical and Vocational Training, Key to Sustainable Development, the Executive Secretary of the Board, Moronke Aziz, noted that it has advanced significantly from a time when technical colleges were dismissed as mere dump sites for failures. Hence, she urged participants to remain focused and dedicated to achieving the agency's goals. The state government also expressed its resolve to establish itself as the national leader in providing excellent and equitable technical and vocational training in Nigeria. The suspended Resident Electoral Commission of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Hudu Yunusa Ari, has pleaded with Adamawa State High Court to adjourn the case brought against him by the electoral body indefinitely. Ari approached the court decided by Justice Benjamin Manji Lawan through his counsel M. Jani to an application asking the court to say substantive case. In an application dated January 21st, 2025, the defendant prayed the court to grant the request pending the ruling on his application filed before the Court of Appeal, Yola Division at Adamawa State. United 7-8 outbound from Lagos to Washington and made an air return to Lagos. Having established a return track to Lagos, it was reported that the aircraft crew maintained the emergency transponder code 7700 with the control tower till it landed. The aircraft initially bound for Washington Dulles International Airport, which is an over 13-year-old wide-body aircraft belonging to the U.S. carrier United Airlines. You're watching the live broadcast of the midday news on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja, When Midday News returns, Russian drones kill 3 near Kyiv as Ukraine launches barrage. We'll bring you details of this as well as business and sports stories right after the break. Please stay with us. If you've just joined us, this is Global Television, bringing you live broadcast of the News Express. In business, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has expressed optimism about Nigeria's inflation trajectory for 2025, asserting that the country could achieve a significant reduction from the average inflation rate of 34.80% in 2024 to 15%. Oyedele says this at the PwC and Business Day Executive Roundtable in Budget and Economic Outlook with the team, insights and strategies for navigating Nigeria's economic, fiscal and policy landscape in 2025 in Lagos. He outlined the factors influencing inflation and emphasized the structural reforms being implemented by the government. Similarly, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has projected a reduction in interest rates in the coming months as inflation showed signs of easing. Speaking at a press briefing for the Chamber's 2025 outlook in Lagos, LCCI Bank of Nigeria is likely to adopt an easing posture soon. The Chamber expressed concern over impact of high interest rates on the private sector, which it described as the backbone of Nigeria's economy. The federal government, through the Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced plans to raise 450 billion naira through its January 2025 bond auction. This figure surpasses the 360 billion naira offered in January 2024 and the 120 billion naira from December 2024, and is part of efforts to bridge the fiscal deficit and meet financial obligations while providing investment opportunities for both institutional and individual investors. The bond auction, scheduled for January 27, 2025, features a combination of reopened and newly issued bonds designed to appeal to a diverse range of investors. Oil marketers have expressed optimism about the rehabilitation of Nigeria's 21 depot by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited following the recent revival of the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries by the oil company. Although the National Oil Company has promised to get the depot running, dealers in the downstream oil sector say it is important to hasten the revamp of the facilities, as this will increase the gains of having functional refineries in Nigeria. The urge to restore owned by the on the foreign scene, air in the Thai capital has forced the closure of more than 350 schools. Seasonal air pollution has long afflicted Thailand, like many countries in the region, but this week's hazy conditions have shuttered most schools since 2020. Administration has closed 352 schools across 31 districts due to air pollution, and people are urged to work from home, and heavy vehicles in the city have been restricted. Afghanistan's Taliban government say an arrest warrant sought by the International Criminal Court (ICC) for its leaders is politically motivated. It comes a day after the ICC chief prosecutor said he was seeking warrants against senior Taliban leaders in Afghanistan over the persecution of women a crime against humanity. It says the court should not attempt to impose a particular interpretation of human rights on the entire world and ignore the religious and national values of people of the rest of the world. The Met Office has issued rare red weather warnings, meaning there is danger to life as storm batters the United Kingdom. The worst disruption is due to hit Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, with gusts of up to 100 miles per hour, equivalent to 161 kilometers per hour, expected in some coastal areas. Millions of people are being urged to stay at home and not travel during the storm, and widespread travel disruption is expected, with some flights and ferry crossings already cancelled. United States immigration agents have raided business establishments in New York, New Jersey, and detained undocumented residents as well as citizens, including a U.S. military veteran. The city's mayor say the raid in New Jersey's most populous city, hailed in the past by Mayor Ras Baraka for its sanctuary policies protecting migrants following President Donald Trump's pledge to deport millions of immigrants who are in the U.S. He has taken steps to punish officials who resist enforcement of his sweeping crackdown. Russian aerial attacks near Kyiv have killed 3 people and wounded several others. Ukrainian officials say while Ukrainian drones targeted sites in 12 Russian regions, halting work at one factory, Moscow has launched drone or missile attacks almost every day on the capital since it launched its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, ostensibly targeting military and energy facilities. Black smoke billowed from a residential building damaged the Russian strike as rescue workers hauled out the bodies of the victims. Official images have been shown from the scenes. In sports now, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has ruled out the Super Eagles among the top 5 favorite teams to watch in this year's African Cup of Nations, AFCON. But the reigning African Player of the Year, Super Eagles and Atlanta of Italy striker Ademola Lookman has been listed as one of the top stars to watch at the 2025 AFCON holding in Morocco later in the year. The championship is returning to Morocco 37 years after the 1988 edition, won by Cameroon. Kyle Walker is set to move from Manchester City to Milan after the 2 clubs agreed terms. Walker will join the Italian side on loan until the end of the season. Milan also has an option to make the move permanent in the summer, but there's no obligation built into the agreement. The 34-year-old England defender is expected in Milan to complete the deal. In tennis, defending champion Aryna Sabalenka put her close friendship with Paula Badosa aside to sweep past the Spaniard into a 3rd successive Australian Open final. The Belarusian world #1 came home 6-2, on Rod Laver Arena and will meet either Polish 2nd seed Iga Swiatek or American 19th seed Madison Keys in Saturday's decider. The hard, fast courts of Melbourne Park have been the 26-year-old's happy place as she has now won 20 straight matches at the Australian Open to close in on a 3rd consecutive crown. As we end Global TV News Express, let's take a look at our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has assured the Nigerian Armed Forces that his administration will never compromise on the welfare of troops, promising that he will continue to provide whatever was needed to ease the job of troops as well as commit more resources to improve their welfare. In business, all marketers have expressed optimism about the rehabilitation of Nigeria's 21 depot by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) following the recent revival of the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries by the NNPCL. On the foreign scene, air pollution in the Thai capital has forced the closure of more than 350 schools. In sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has ruled out the Super Eagles among the top 5 favorite teams to watch in this year's Africa Cup of Nations. And that's it on Global Television's Midday News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on NigeComSat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.